Failure. It's that gut punch feeling we all try to avoid. The rejection email, the botched interview, the relationship that crashes harder than a Michael Bay explosion. But what if I told you? Deadpool failed his way into becoming unstoppable. No, seriously, the guy got tortured, disfigured, and lost everything, and somehow turned that into his biggest strength. We fear failure like Deadpool fears running out of chimichangas, but what if I told you that failure isn't the enemy? That it's actually your superpower? Society tells us that failing means you're weak, that messing up proves you're not good enough. Most people are terrified of failing. In fact, studies show that fear of failure affects up to 33% of people, stopping them from taking risks or chasing their dreams. We avoid trying new things because we are afraid we won't be good enough. We play it safe, convinced that if we fail, it means we are worthless. But Deadpool, yes, the Merc with the mouth, has a secret weapon. And no, it's not just his healing factor or his ability to break the fourth wall, it's his relationship with failure. He doesn't just endure it, he embraces it. And today, I'm going to show you why you need to start thinking like Deadpool if you want to turn your own failures into success. You won't believe how failure is your greatest opportunity. Make sure you watch this video until the end, because by the time we are done, you'll see failure in a way you've never seen before. Most of us live in a carefully crafted illusion, one where failure is the ultimate villain. We scroll through Instagram, watching highlight reels of success, millionaire entrepreneurs, shredded gym bros, power couples sipping cocktails on a beach in Bali. Meanwhile, I'm over here just trying to figure out if I have enough money for guacamole. But here's the thing, nobody posts about the years of rejection, self-doubt, or disastrous failures that led them there. We think success means avoiding failure at all costs, when in reality, success is about failing over and over until you get it right. Take Wade Wilson, for example. Before he became Deadpool, the wisecracking fourth-wall-breaking anti-hero, he was just a cocky mercenary who thought he had life all figured out. He was good at his job, he had charm, he had Vanessa, a woman who loved him despite his questionable life choices. Everything seemed perfect. And then, bam! Life threw a wrecking ball to his face. Cancer. The one thing he couldn't fight with sarcasm or brute force. This is the moment we all fear, when life pulls the rug out from under us. A failed business, a breakup, a dream crushed before it even had a chance. We think that when we fail, it's over. We buy into the lie that we were never meant for greatness, and we let fear keep us stuck. But here's the truth. Failure isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Because failure is coming for you, my friend. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But don't panic just yet, because like Deadpool, you have a choice. You can run from failure, or you can use it as the key to your success. Want to know how? Stick around, because this is where things get interesting. We all want success, but here's the problem. Most people think that success comes from avoiding failure. That's like thinking you can beat a video game without dying once. No mistakes, no respawns, no level ups, sounds boring and impossible. That's the biggest lie you've ever been told. The truth? Failure is the only way you grow. And if there's one person who proves that, it's Deadpool. Wade Wilson had a choice, stay the same and let cancer kill him, or take a risk on something that could change everything. Enter the mysterious recruiter, offering him a miracle cure. This was his one chance to come out stronger than ever. It sounded like the perfect solution. But here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't just about surviving, this was about transformation. And guess what? You have the same opportunity right now. Every failure you've ever had has been leading you to a choice. Stay in the cycle of fear, avoiding risks, playing it safe, and staying stuck. Or start using failure as a tool, a way to rebuild yourself into something stronger. Because here's the reality. Failure is your greatest opportunity, but only if you stop running from it and start learning from it. Deadpool didn't know it yet, but his biggest failure was about to become his greatest strength. And you're standing at the same crossroads. Before we continue with the video and my further explanation about Deadpool's lessons, I want to ask you for your help. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subs by the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and help me out. Okay, let's continue. Taking risks sounds great, until you're standing on the edge of a cliff staring into the abyss of what-ifs and regret-flavored consequences. Ever sent a risky text at 3 a.m. and immediately regretted it? Yeah, failure feels kinda like that. That's when doubt kicks in like a surprise punch from Colossus. For Wade Wilson, that moment hit hard. He wasn't just afraid of dying, he was afraid of what would happen if he survived. What if this miracle cure turned him into something worse than your uncle's midlife crisis mullet? What if he ended up looking like a cross between a burnt chimichanga and a rejected avocado? Sounds ridiculous, right? But let's be honest, haven't we all had a Deadpool moment like this? What if I put myself out there and fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I'm just not good enough? That fear? It's like a villain that convinces you to sit on the sidelines. And wait, he stalled too. He didn't jump into that experiment right away. He hesitated, cracked jokes, and even tried to push Vanessa away because deep down he thought he wasn't worthy of a happy ending. And that's the truth about failure. It's not always the fall we are afraid of, it's what happens after. But here's the thing, the people who succeed, they don't wait until they are ready, they take the leap anyway. Deadpool did, and it changed everything. Stick around, because in the next part, we are going to talk about how you can change your perspective and start seeing failure the way Deadpool does. And trust me, it's going to change everything. Failure. It's the one thing nobody wants, yet it's the only thing that truly forces us to grow. Think of it like a video game. You don't lose when you die, you just respawn, smarter than before. Imagine if Mario quit after the first Goomba. No level ups, no princess, just endless game over screens. And when failure finally hits, most people break. They give up. They decide that maybe their dreams weren't meant to happen. But not Deadpool. When Wade Wilson finally took the leap, signing up for the miracle cure that was supposed to save him, he had no idea what kind of hell he was about to go through. Torture, pain beyond imagination, his body breaking down, rebuilding itself only to break again. It wasn't just failure, it was failure on repeat, a never-ending loop of suffering, and honestly, that's what failure feels like in real life too. It's not just one bad moment, it's wave after wave of setbacks, rejection, and frustration. It's getting fired, losing money, hearing no so many times you start to wonder if the universe is playing a cruel joke on you. But here's the thing about failure that nobody tells you. It's a test, and the ones who push through it, they come out stronger than they ever imagined. Deadpool literally couldn't die, but not because of the experiment itself. It was because he endured so much pain, so much failure, that his body adapted. He was forced to transform into something unbreakable. And that's where I come in, because if you're watching this, I know you've been through your own version of hell. I know what it's like to feel like you failed so badly that there's no coming back. I remember failing my first big project so badly that I was convinced I'd never recover. I stared at my screen questioning everything. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this, maybe this was proof I'd never succeed, but then I thought, if Deadpool can bounce back from looking like a burnt avocado, maybe I can bounce back from this too. I know what it's like to wonder if all the work, all the effort, was just a waste of time. But let me tell you something. Failure doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're in training. Think of it like leveling up in a video game. Every failure, that's XP. Every rejection, that's another skill point added. And the people who keep playing despite losing, they are the ones who actually win. Deadpool's greatest strength wasn't his healing factor, it was his refusal to stay down. He got back up every single time. And if you can learn to see failure the same way, not as a dead end but as a stepping stone, you'll be unstoppable too. So, are you ready to start seeing your failures as fuel? Because in the next part, I'm going to show you how to take that first step, and trust me, it's a game changer. Alright, so we have established that failure isn't the end, it's training. But what if you're thinking, okay, but what if I just keep failing? Worst case, you become a motivational speaker with epic failure stories. Best case, you actually get better and win. Sounds like a solid deal to me. See, it's easy to sit back and say, okay, I get it, failure is a lesson, but the real question is, what do you do next? This is the moment where most people hesitate. They wait for the perfect conditions, the right timing, or a guarantee that it'll all work out. They think, I'll start when I'm ready. Spoiler alert, you're never going to feel ready. Deadpool? He didn't wait. Once he realized his life as Wade Wilson was over, he didn't sit around crying about it. Well, maybe a little, but then he got over it. He took action. Sure, it was messy. Sure, it was ridiculous. But he didn't let his setbacks stop him. Think about it. The guy had every reason to hide. His face looked like a melted candle, his life was in pieces, and yet he put on a red suit, grabbed some katanas, and got to work. And that's the key. Taking action before you feel ready. Because let's be real, you will fail. Again and again. You'll mess up, you'll get knocked down, and that's exactly how you win. I get it, it's terrifying. Putting yourself out there going after what you want, knowing that you might fail, it's like jumping off of a plane and hoping the parachute opens. I've been there. I've had moments where I thought, what if I just make things worse? What if I embarrass myself? But let me ask you this. What if you don't? What if you actually succeed? The truth is, the only way to truly fail is to never start. Every setback is another chance to adapt, to improve, to build something even stronger. So, here's your challenge. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. The only thing that matters is that you start. Deadpool didn't wait for permission, and neither should you. Did he overthink his life choices? Nope. He grabbed some katanas and went full chaos mode. And that's exactly what you need to do. So, are you ready to step forward and own your failures? Because in the next part, we are going to talk about the challenges that will try to stop you and how to push through them like the badass you are. Alright, pop quiz time. You want something big. Success, happiness, maybe unlimited chimichangas. But here's the catch. To get there, you have to fail. A lot. Still in? Or are you tapping out already? The moment you decide to chase something bigger, life will test you. You'll face obstacles that make you question if you should even keep going. Your biggest enemy isn't out there, it's in your own head. That nagging voice whispering, "You're not good enough. What if you fail? What if they laugh?" But hold up, what if I told you that even Batman hears that voice? Yeah, even Gotham's billionaire ninja detective has doubts. The only difference? He doesn't let that voice win. Because here's the truth. Failure isn't proof you're incapable. It's proof you're in motion, learning, growing. And then come the doubters, the critics, the ones who tell you it'll never work. Some will laugh, some will roll their eyes. But remember this, their opinions don't pay your bills. Their doubts don't shape your future. Only you do. Failure will hit you. Hard. That job rejection, that project that flopped, that dream that feels further away than ever, but failure isn't a stop sign, it's a detour. Every setback is a lesson, every misstep a redirection. And when exhaustion creeps in, when frustration tells you to quit, remember, success isn't built overnight. It's built in the quiet moments when you choose to keep going. Rest if you must, but don't stop. Because every small step forward is still a step toward the life you're meant to live. The truth, obstacles aren't there to break you, they're there to build you. Deadpool didn't quit when things got hard, and neither should you. In the next part, we're diving even deeper. Stick around because your biggest breakthrough is coming. Alright, so, you've been knocked down. You've faced rejection, self-doubt, and setbacks that made you question why you even started. Feels like you're on the Titanic, and life just handed you a violin instead of a lifeboat. But here's the hardest truth. Most people quit right before they are about to break through. This is the moment when everything feels impossible. You've put in the effort, but the results aren't showing. You start thinking, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. What if I've wasted all this time for nothing? Maybe I should just play it safe. Deadpool had this moment too. He thought the experiment would save him, but instead it left him disfigured, tortured, and abandoned. He had every reason to give up, to stay hidden, to let his pain define him, but he didn't. And neither should you. See, this stage, the breaking point, is actually a test. It's where you find out what you're really made of. Are you going to let failure break you? Or will you use it to fuel your comeback? Every successful person you admire has stood in this exact moment. Colonel Sanders, the man behind KFC, he was rejected 1,009 times before someone finally believed in his chicken recipe. Imagine that, over 1,000 no's, but he didn't quit. And now, KFC has thousands of locations worldwide. J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team, but instead of giving up, he trained harder and became the GOAT. Steve Jobs fired from his own company only to return and revolutionize the tech industry with Apple. They didn't succeed because it was easy, they succeeded because they refused to stay down. Also, Deadpool didn't let his pain stop him. He embraced it, adapted, and became unstoppable. And that's what you need to do next. Because in the next phase, you're going to face your biggest test yet, the moment where everything's on the line. Stick around, because this is where the real transformation happens. This is it, the moment that defines everything. You've stumbled, you've doubted yourself, you've failed more times than my Wi-Fi connection in the middle of a Zoom call. And now, you're standing at the edge, ready to either quit or go all in. This is the moment where most people wave the white flag and walk away. For Deadpool, this moment came in the most Deadpool way possible, horribly, painfully, and with maximum sarcasm. The so-called miracle cure didn't just leave him with a jawline that could make a grown onion cry, it also stole everything he thought made him, well, him. His looks, gone. His future, torched. His relationship, as dead as his moral compass. And that's exactly what failure does to us. It strips away the version of ourselves we used to be. It makes us question if we'll ever be capable, successful, or even worthy. I worked so hard and it still wasn't enough. Maybe I'm just not meant for this. I should just quit and become a professional napper. I get it, I've been there. That one failure that hits so hard, you consider packing up your dreams and moving to a remote island to become best friends with a volleyball. But let me tell you something. This is the test. The moment where you decide, is failure the end or is it the beginning? Deadpool had every reason to let pain define him, to disappear, to give up. Instead, he did something insane. He turned his scars into his greatest weapon. And you can do the same. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't isn't talent or luck, it's refusing to stay down when life drop kicks you in the face. This is your turning point. So, are you going to let failure be your villain or your origin story? And in the next phase, you'll see exactly what happens when you refuse to let failure win. Stick around because the reward is coming. So, what happens when you stop fearing failure and start owning it? Boom, you unlock your origin story. Think about it. Deadpool with failure, no powers, no revenge arc, just some dude in a red suit making bad life choices, no story, no transformation. But because he embraced failure, he became unstoppable. And so can you. Deadpool went from being a smooth-talking mercenary to a scarred, unhinged, chimichanga-fueled revenge machine. And somehow, that made him more powerful than ever. But let's be real, his scars didn't magically make him stronger. His power came from embracing what happened to him and refusing to let it hold him back. And that's your reward too. Failure is supposed to hurt because pain forces you to evolve. Rejection is supposed to sting because it pushes you to improve. Setbacks are supposed to happen because success without struggle is just luck. The question isn't if you'll fail, the question is, will you use it? I know, because I've been there. I've had failures so bad they made me want to throw my laptop into a volcano and start a new life as a goat farmer, but every time I wanted to quit, I reminded myself that failure wasn't the enemy. It was proof that I was trying. Deadpool didn't wait for permission to be great. He took his pain and turned it into power. And now, it's your turn. Because if you take your failures, learn from them, and keep going when most people would quit, nothing can stop you. In the next part, we'll talk about how to stay on this path, even when it gets tough. Because trust me, the road back is never easy. Stick around. This is the moment. The final test. You've failed, you've struggled, you've questioned if you're even meant for this, and yet you're still here. This is what separates the people who make it from the people who don't. Deadpool wasn't just beaten down, he was completely destroyed. He had every excuse to disappear, to let his pain define him, but instead he used it. He turned his scars into armor. And now, it's your turn. That rejection, it built resilience. That failure, it taught you how to adapt. That setback, it forced you to grow in ways you never would have. Most people don't reach success because they quit right before they transform. But you've come too far to stop now. The world isn't looking for perfect people who never fail. It's looking for people who fall, rise, and keep fighting anyway. You're not failing, you're becoming unstoppable. And now it's time to claim what's yours. You've made it this far, now it's time for the final step, the moment where everything comes full circle. Stay with me, because what comes next, that's where you claim your victory. You made it. You've gone through the fire, taken the hits, and now you're walking out stronger. This is the part of the story where the hero returns, not as the same person, but transformed. Deadpool didn't erase his pain, he didn't get his old life back, but he found something better. He found purpose, confidence, and the ultimate superpower: laughing in the face of failure and charging forward anyway. And now, that's your superpower too. You've learned that failure isn't an enemy, it's a weapon. You know that setbacks aren't roadblocks, they are stepping stones. You understand that success isn't about never failing, it's about getting back up again and again. This is your comeback arc. This is your origin story. Now, you have two choices. Stay the same, keep fearing failure, keep holding back, or step up, use what you've learned, take action, no matter how messy. Drop a comment below. What's the biggest failure that forced you to level up? I'll be diving into the best stories and sharing insights. Your story isn't over, it's just getting started.